a step backwards in terms of tax policy. Shifting the tax burden to lower and middle income families is not something that will be sustainable for the future and the kind of future I want to see for the Utah families in my community. If we, hey, I don't want to interrupt you, sir.
Thank
we
you.
We've been in Utah for a long time. Hey, no, I'm going to ask you to be respectful. No one interrupted you on your story of family budget. So if we wanted to look at real reform, I think that was not what was presented to us. And I'm concerned also that it's an echo chamber in the Utah legislature, that we listen to the same voices again and again, and we're not listening to you. And I think this argument that somehow people aren't understanding or they're not smart enough to know all that we know of the legislature is ludicrous and frankly insulting to the intelligence of the people of Utah. So I commend you guys for being here, for working to make sure the voice of the people is heard. In terms of tax reform, I do agree that we need to have a conversation about tax reform. And first and foremost, the hardest thing that we should have done that was not done in this policy was we give away almost $1 billion in sales tax exemptions that there's not even a reporting requirement to be reported to the state of how much money we're foregoing. So if you want to look at figuring out how to solve this issue of the general fund, let's start with looking at the $1 billion that we're not bringing in as a state because of the current tax deals and the current sweet deals that some companies are getting. And let's evaluate those and be honest about those and have a reporting requirement. Does that help our economy? Does that help average families? We don't even know what we're missing out on in this state because we're not willing to have those reporting requirements and have a conversation about the current system that we are in. That's a failure of this tax bill, and one of the reasons I voted against it. The other reasons I voted against it are because I listened to the people in my community who had concerns about huge cuts to the education fund, potential threat to how we fund education in the future with no plan beyond a trust us where the legislature will take care of you in a system that in the past has not invested in education in the way I think we need to be doing in the classroom. That's one of the main reasons I ran for office. Number two reason I voted against this is a food tax, in my opinion, is not the way to go. That is not the way of the future. Over 30 states have abandoned the tax on basic groceries. If you want to talk about taxing junk food, I would be totally fine with that. That is not what this bill did. It taxes basic food, basic necessities, because it's stable. Well, I feel like staple taxes on the backs of the poor and the middle income is not the kind of future I want to see for the families in my community. And there are other ways to create a sustainable, stable tax structure. And the third reason I voted against this is this bill to have the government picking winners and losers when it comes to small businesses. Conveniently, those businesses that did not end up on this list of taxing of services are the ones that have a strong lobbyist presence up on the hill. And those that didn't have a lobbyist presence are the ones that ended up getting their services taxed. To me, that's not good legislation. And I think that's flawed and shows a weakness in our system that we need to get out of the echo chamber in the Utah legislature, listen to the people that we represent, and represent the actual families that elected us. And I hope that if you have concerns about this, that you'll remember this and make sure you and your neighbors are registered to vote, voter.utah.gov, and vote in 2020, and we can change the trajectory of policy in the future in Utah. Thank you.